Right, good morning, everybody. You know what? Thank you for coming. Before I get started, I do just want everybody to take note and see our new recruits for our firefighters.
Yes.
And
yes, thank you.
And they sure look good standing there. Wow, thank you all. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for coming today because I wanted you all to come here today because there's been a lot of back and forth in the press about what I knew and when I knew it concerning the water credits, and I really wanted to set that record straight. There was a press release. There was a press release sent by the state on January 24th. At the very end, it stated that the credits would continue to be provided through the end of February. That was something we knew. We already knew that. That wasn't new information for us. In fact, we expected the credits to continue through the end of March. Then, 2 weeks later, not 2 months later, 2 weeks later, in the letter the governor's office sent to David Sabuda and I, which was dated January 7th, it said that the credits and the GLEWA, the Great Lakes Water Authority payment, would be provided through the end of February. It also states, and that's when it said through the end, it also states that the letter is the first formal notification regarding the credits ending through the end of February. That's what it says. And if you want to see it, it's available. Again, this didn't strike me as anything new. We were expecting the credits to continue through the end of March, and state law supports that. And I am going to have our Chief Legal Officer, Angela Wheeler, talk more about that in just a few moments. But that's what the law supports. So really, I thought these credits should be provided at least through June. That's when we have our next testing round, in June. And after we get the results of the next water testing round, we could have the conversation about when the credits would end. But what concerns me is that we're losing focus. We're losing focus of the real issue, and that's what the state wants us to do, not hold them accountable. You know, now we're arguing amongst ourselves. That's what we're doing. We're arguing amongst ourselves instead of being upset that with the state for ending the credits earlier than they initially told us. And after I told them when I got the letter, I told them then, this is not a good idea. I said that right in the conference room. This is not a good idea. And the fact is, the governor signed legislation at the beginning of January extending those credits through March 31st. Now that's what he did. So I have not misled this community, and I was shocked to hear Flint City Council President Carrie Nelson say that I misled this community. I take exception to that. I would not do that. And I think we deserve the credits until the water is tap drinkable without a filter. In fact, you want me to say it again? Tap drinkable without a filter?
We gotta hear you.
Tap drinkable without a filter. And you know what? And this was in a meeting. We've been having meetings about this. And this was in a meeting where the governor's chief advisor, Rich Baird, used the phrase. We asked, what does good water mean? Because we wanted more than just what the federal standards are requiring. We know we meet those when they test the water. We wanted more. We wanted tap drinkable without a filter. And when that was said, I said, ooh, I like that. I like that phrase. I'm going to start using it. Tap drinkable without a filter. So this is a trust issue. That's what it is. State officials say one thing and then do another, and that's always been one of my concerns and that of the community as well. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. Let's hold the state accountable for what we deserve. Remember, State officials told us they would provide the water credits and the payment for source water through March 31st. And this is reflected in the minutes of the meeting that I'm talking about. We had this meeting with city officials, state officials, we had county people there, EPA. We had about 25 people in person and or on the phone with a conference call. That's what we had. And as I mentioned before, this is supported by state law. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Angela Wheeler, our chief legal.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Yeah, when the state enacted Public Act 340 of 2016, this is Senate Bill 800, in Section 602, it gave the state treasurer power to provide residential customers the water credits up to 65% when there is a water emergency that's declared. And under Section 4A, the state has the power to extend the credits for the amount billed for water for the period of April 2014 to no later than March 31st of 2017, which the mayor has previously stated. So the credits can be extended by the state within their discretion through March 31st of 2017. And there is a specific appropriation for this money through the Public Act.
And you know what, I have to come back because I was told that I said January 7th when I should have said February 7th. Let me get it right, but it's on the letter. The correct date is on the letter. And so that's what I want to let people know. We don't have time to fuss and fight with each other. We need to fuss and fight with them. You know, they should have extended the credits. That's what we talked about. That's all we ever talked about. So getting through February was something we expected. Not only do we expect that, we deserve that. We expect it through March. We expected at least through March. And so that's where we are. I hope we can continue to stay united and focused and hold the state accountable and get what we have been fighting for and what we deserve, because that's what I'm going to continue to do. Kristen?
Right here. All right,
Oh.
now we'll take a few questions. This is a press conference, so if we could limit the questions to just media only, we appreciate that. And any questions on the water credits? Go ahead.
How can you hold the state accountable?
Well, you know, we can only do what we can do, but we're going to continue to keep fighting for what we believe and know that we deserve. Obviously, I can't. They said they were going to extend them through March 31st, and then they changed what they said. And, you know, what we've talked about, even with the other things we've been doing, when we talk about this issue of trust, that was why we had to have so many other players at the table when we were doing testing, because we wanted to make sure we were holding them accountable and that we trusted the results we were getting from them. So I can show you what they've said, and we have to do that together. That's what we have to do. I don't know what they'll do, obviously, because they changed what they said we were able to do and what they were going to do.
How is the city going to cover the source water if the state stops paying for that, the monthly bill?
Wow, I really wish I had Dave Sabuta here to answer that question, but that's something that we've been talking about, and why should we have to? Why should we have to? I'm going to continue to try to hold them to what they said, and I'm going to try to I'm going to continue to try to get the extension. Like I said, I wish they'd go through at least, well, if I had my way, they'd go through more than just June. They'd go through much more than June, because one of the things we know is while the water tests a certain way, and we're glad that the water is testing where it is, we're glad that our people have been doing what's necessary to get the water quality better, but I think Jolisa explained it last week when we had a press conference. The infrastructure in people's homes has been ruined. We can't use, it's not safe when you look at those kinds of issues. We're removing lead service lines and we're shaking things. So we've got to use filters because of an action that was done to us by them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, on Friday during the meeting of the Interagency Committee, the coordinator for the Flint water response from the state police said with bottled water there are discussions ongoing in terms of how long bottled water is going to be available at the sites? Is the city a party to those discussions, and where are we at?
I think we may have had some representation. We know we still need bottled water. If we have to use filters, we still need bottled water as well. And people need to let them know that we need bottled water. You have to go out there and get it and show there's a need for bottled water. And so we want these kinds of supports to be in place until we have gotten to where we talked about getting tap drinkable.
Are they talking about a specific target date, or are they looking at sometime this year, or what are they talking about?
Well, I think they've been talking about through maybe September. But, you know, better get something in writing.
Mayor Weaver, Dr. Laura Sullivan had made statements in the Flint City Council meeting regarding testing. And it's one round of testing that's done, and it's supposed to be another round of testing that's to be done to somewhat assure that the water is getting to where it is, and that the state of Michigan has not met that burden yet before they turned off or cut off the credit. What's your thoughts about that? Or, you know, I know she's not here.
I know she's not here, but you know what? And that was why I said, and I never finished. And if I had my way, I'd have the credits extended for years to come. We have kids and families that have been impacted for years to come. But I would like to at least get through that next round of testing, because that's what she was talking about, and that's what's supposed to happen in June, and then see where we are. But that's why I said February. Yeah, we expect it to go through February. We expect it to go through March. But our goal, what we really would like, is to at least get to the next round of testing.
Also, your credibility has been somewhat put at task by the leadership of the Flint City Council. And while on my show on Saturday, council person that sits on the Flint City Council said that what the leadership, Mr. Nelson, said was not accurate, that in fact that the Flint City Council has been knew about and been kept abreast of what was going on about the credits and this whole issue. What say you?
Well, what I will say is, I mean, you can look at their minutes as well, because I think our chief financial officer presented that information. But as soon as I got the formal letter that was dated February 7th, I shared it the very next day with Council President Nelson and with our senior council person, Scott Kincaid. I gave it to him the very next day, as I had Kristen put the letter out to the media.
Mayor Weaver, have you been in contact with Governor Snyder, or have you talked to Senator Hannanek or Representative Neely?
I'm going to have conversation with them. I haven't talked to the governor since I went down to meet with him to ask him about extending them. I have had no further discussion with him since then.
I know you said, Mayor, you said that the credits should be in place until the water is tap drinkable without a filter. Have you communicated any timeline to the governor in terms of your expectations about that?
Well, how long is that going to take? It's going to take us getting through replacing these lead service lines. We know that's at least 3 years. We know that. You know, that's as fast as we can get them done. So we know it goes through that amount of time. And yeah, we've put all kinds of things on the table. But I knew we had the law on our side as far as the 31st, because we knew that had been signed off on. And we still talked about this next round of testing in June. But I would like it to go, I mean, we're going to be shaking things up while we make things better. You know, you have to do that. And so it would have been nice to continue the conversation. That's what we thought. We were still continuing conversations around negotiating this time frame and pushing it back. So we have had that discussion, yes.
Go ahead, final question.
Oh, final question? If it's a final question, I was hoping there would be some comments about the Michigan Civil Rights Commission report. Is that?
We wanted to really keep it on water credits.
But I will have something to say about that. But we've talked about those kinds of things as well, and had this been a different community, what would have happened and what should have happened. But I will put something out for that.
Mayor, since the law is on your side, will you take the governor at task or court? You said the law is on your side. Maybe that should be refer that to the chief. Would you consider taking the governor to court to make him obey the statute.
I think we have to consider all possibilities. I don't think anything's off the table. So we do have to keep all options open.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
BJ Summit.
Oh, I'll let you. Come on, Chief Public Health Advisor, Dr. Pugh.
One of the things that Dr. Mayor Weaver mentioned when I first got here is having an environmental justice summit. And so we've been thinking about this since October, and so we've put together an environmental justice summit that will take place on March 9th and March 10th, where some of the lead experts throughout the country, as well as some local folks here, will be helping this community look at this issue as an environmental justice issue. So that information will be coming out this week.
Okay, this week it'll be coming out?
It will be
Okay,
coming out.
good. Okay.
Will the
Thank-
public be invited to that?
Yes, as part of it on March 9th, we will be having a listening session where we will be listening to the public.
And when do you expect to be responding to the Michigan Civil Rights Commission report? When and how?
When should we put something out? I don't know yet. It will be coming out soon.
And
It'll be
she's
coming
been
out
thinking
soon.
about this, so
Right.
it'll be coming out with the March 9th.
I've been so
information.
focused on this, right,
Your response to that would come out with
Yes.
the announcement
prior
of
to that. Right. And that's coming this week.
All right, thank you guys for coming out.